done it again. I've angered the internet, especially the photographers on the internet. And this time, they're right, I was wrong, and I want to talk about this. So, this will take a while to get to, but there's some important information in here. First up, I made a video. It was satirical. It was satire. I understand I'm British and I live on the peculiar end of the British spectrum. So the satire was lost on many, but satire is based on truth. And there was a truth to it. So there's two reasons why I've annoyed photographers, and we're going to address both of them. The first one, and I'm standing by my view on camera straps and lens hoods, but my first one is, I made a video saying, you don't need good kit. A 5D Mark II is good enough to shoot a worldwide campaign on. I stand by that. And I made a second video, satire, but also true. If you want to look pro, you need to be rocking it with a Hasselblad, a Fuji medium format, Phase 1, Sinars, Cambos, that kind of jazz. I stand by that. It's true. Now, the reason the internet is angry is because I've said two opposing things, and I believe both of them. Now, this is not in isolation in my viewpoints. I believe many opposing views to be true. And many opposing views can be true. You can absolutely shoot the work I shoot on a 5D Mark II. You will look more pro with a Hasselblad, Fuji, Phase, Sinar, Cambo, insert fancy brand there. Godox make great lights at a great price point. You could shoot an ad campaign that I shoot on those lights. Broncolor, Breeze, and Pro Photo make better lights and are more pro looking on set. Being pro and looking pro shouldn't matter. Whether you are a professional photographer or not, I don't care. I like you because you're a photographer and hopefully a nice person. Whether you do it as a hobby or you make millions of pounds a year, I don't rank you in order of importance. As long as you're a nice person and you enjoy what you do, great. Whether you look pro or not, I don't care. However, for me, in my business, it's important people think I'm pro. And there is no way a client is going to rock up on set and people go, well, clients don't know. Clients know. Good clients know. If you rock up on set with a 5D Mark II and Godox lighting, and the next day the second photographer turns up with a Phase 1, a Fuji GFX, Pro Photo, Breeze, Broncolor, they will look more pro. If the work is the same, the mental perception will be that this person did a better job and they were more pro if the pricing was the same. Now, ideally, I'd like to rock up to a shoot with a 5D Mark II and second-hand Godox lighting and charge what I charge because I make more money. Now, if I could do that, I absolutely would, but I can't for many reasons. For the infrastructure we have in our industry, for the too many to go into here. But the first thing is, I've annoyed people because I have opposing views. Now, as well as having opposing views, I have changing views. And not only do they change as I grow and as I evolve, they change based on my mood. Sometimes I love peace and quiet. Other times I am lonely in peace and quiet. Sometimes I like being at a big party, giving it large. Other times I wish everyone would. And it depends on my mood. And that's the same with all humans. Anybody who believes the same thing in a linear way, one thing only for their entire life, probably needs to change their social group and needs to go and branch out a bit more. But we should be like that. But I understand, when I was a learning photographer, and I learnt from the internet, predominantly from YouTube, and there was a golden era back then of great photographers on here, and some of them have changed what they do with their channel, and some of them have just left YouTube. But when I was doing that, I wanted an answer. I didn't want two opposing answers. I didn't want 10 different options. I just wanted an answer. Unfortunately, there isn't one. The next part of this, people want absolutes. So not just do we have the differing opinions, which is fine, people can have different opinions, and the differing opinion inside one person and opposing views, we also have the fact that there are not many facts in photography. Shutter speed is a shutter speed. Aperture is an aperture, but even aperture, 2.8 on this lens is not 2.8 on that lens. And if I've got an automatic lens, which all of you probably do have, 2.8 on a 1.2 lens fired 100 times is not the same aperture on a 100 frames. On my camera it is, but it may differ lens to lens, and that's not just different types of lenses, I'm talking like 10 versions of the same lens. And I know this because I have things like that. There's lots of stuff though which is absolute. The inverse square law, hyperfocal, things like that, they are absolute. You can measure sharpness, or at least you can measure micro contrast. That's an absolute. You can't measure image quality. You can measure things that somebody's decided image quality is made up of, but you can't measure which one is better in a million different ways. You can measure which one's sharper, which one's got better contrast, which one's got better dynamic range, but that has nothing to do with a good photograph. You can't be given an absolute answer as to which camera's best. If someone comes to me and says, which camera should I buy? And that's all they give me, I say 5D Mark II. The reason why? It's cheap. It takes a good photograph. That's it. 200 quid, you don't like it, don't worry about it. You've not wasted loads of money. If somebody comes to me and goes, I've made $500,000 for the last 3 years, I'm thinking of upgrading my 5D Mark II, I'll shoot very similar to what you do. If you could have anything, Scott, what would you go for? I'd be like, well, if I'm thinking cost effective, I'd go for my current setup, a GFX Fuji medium format, a Cambo, and some decent lenses. You're probably looking, what are we saying here, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand in for the camera setup. And then obviously duplicates, so 20. If they were going, money's no object, I've got loads of it, we're making loads, we're rolling in it, IQ3 on a Cambo with some Cambo lenses. I'd say buy all brand new, get all the warranty and everything. And they'd probably be spending, 50 to 60 grand. But I can't give that answer to everybody because the right camera for you is based on who you are, where you are, because rentals and stuff, is based on what you shoot, your financial situation, your potential future earnings, either as a photographer or as a hobbyist, because that matters as well. Just because you've got 50 grand in the bank doesn't mean you should buy a phase. Maybe that 50 grand is going to be your nest egg for some rental properties or whatever it may be. But you can't give an absolute answer like that. And I think, and this is my fault, absolutely, I'm going to own this is my fault. When I say something, it is true to me. When I say the 5D Mark II is the best camera you can get if you're unsure as to what you want to shoot and you're not making $500,000 a year, that is true to me. You can have a different opinion, and I hope you have a different opinion. I want people to have different opinions. If we all thought like me, the world would not be a great place, that's for sure. But also, it'd be very boring. My friends all have different opinions. I've got 3 photography friends who shoot a similar thing to me. All 4 of us, myself included, have different cameras. We do the same thing, and we all believe what we have is best. And we're all right. Apart from Dave. But we're all right. And that is important. I have friends with different political opinions. I have friends with different social opinions. I have friends in different classes. I have friends in different walks of life, whatever it is. I want them to have their different opinions because it helps me form mine. So my opinion is 5D Mark II is a great camera. Go and buy one. If you're not sure what to buy and you're not making a shed load of money, go and get a 5D Mark II. You can absolutely shoot a worldwide ad campaign on it. But you will look more pro with a Hasselblad. But if we ignore all of these things here, the one take home, which is an absolute, is lens hoods go on forwards and camera straps are for wedding photographers and documentary people. We do not use them in studios. You look like an amateur. Please don't use camera straps. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.